Alright, so it's been quite a while since I've done my last video update. And all excuses aside, I'd definitely like to say it was just due to the holidays and just lots of work and lots of different stuff. And so I definitely wanted to show a video of kind of what the tank's looking like after I've let a lot of time pass. And honestly, I mean, I'm just being honest with myself, with a little bit of neglect on the tank, but it's quite funny how all this just kind of works out. So let me give you the rundown from my last video. So last video I was talking about if we were looking at my rock, we're looking at a lot of my plants. I just had a really bad algae bloom, brown algae bloom. And so since then, from my last video, I was doing my dosing to my tank on my dry ferts, and I just completely stopped. I got off my regimen, I completely stopped. I did a water change and I kind of just let it go. Well, in the meantime, you can see that my CO2 counter isn't on either right now. I took that off. So I ran out of CO2. I went to my local sports store to get it refilled, and their CO2 machine wasn't working, and I went back, and then they said that my tank has a leak. So I found one of my smaller tanks, and that lasted like 3 days, and I went back to get it refilled, and they said, oh, the machine's leaking again. And the other sports stores around me are just a pain in the butt to go to, or are really far away, so I just haven't been putting CO2 into the tank. So here's the funny thing. I haven't been doing anything to my tank other than just straight up doing water changes. So in this video you see right here, the only thing I've done is I've done a water change, and I've trimmed up my plants a little bit as well. So you can be like, wow, that's a ton of growth though, and you've done a lot of trimming. So yeah, I did a ton of trimming. So if that says anything about just how thick this wisteria has gotten, it is insane. Like, just look at those right there. I mean, they're just healthy, thick. Everything in my tank right now is just looking so healthy. I'm not dosing. I don't have CO2 going. I've got nothing. I've got my light and my water changes. That is bottom line it. This plant right here has never looked this healthy. Ever. And it just looks simply amazing. I've got some dead leaves here at the bottom. I think it's because they're just not getting any light whatsoever, and that may be from my last change as well. But if we want to get into it plant by plant, let's just go from there. So my Java fern, it had so much brown algae all over it. It was saddening, and I would rub it. Yeah, rub it. I'd use my finger to kind of rub off some of the algae, and it would help. But let's see if we can get a better angle right here. And I actually just noticed this bad boy too. I'm gonna be careful having my phone over my tank if we can see it. But if you can see down there, I had, let's see, use my finger. I had this stem and this stem when I planted this Java fern. I've got a completely new Java fern coming up, and I don't know if you can notice it, but I have got growth right there coming directly off of the leaves. I've got another one right there. So one thing I guess that I learned about Java fern is they've got these little pods that pop on the side of them, and they'll grow just a completely new plant. So what I can actually do is I can snip those right there, and I can replant them somewhere in the tank, and I'll get just more Java fern growing up. So I don't think I'm going to do it this week. I'll probably mess with it next week, but I'm going to snip all of these guys off right here, and I'm going to replant these bad boys somewhere in the tank, and boom, I got more plants. As I said, the wisteria is going strong. These little guys in the back that you can see here, the stems on those are just absolutely amazing as well. They're just super thick, super healthy, looking great. I've got my Ludwigia in the back going strong. I've got these Ludwigia that are they're just simply amazing. So many leaves coming out of it, looking great, good growth. My Rotala is doing really good too. I trimmed it up a lot. It was growing really high, so I trimmed it a little lower. I want it to kind of thicken up. And then this guy back here, I think this is the Indica, is doing decent. It's bushing up pretty good. I trimmed that as well. I need to trim it a little more proper, just make it look a little more appeasing. But before I do it, I'm gonna let it grow out even a little more. So I had another Ludwigia that I just kind of popped off. It was just a dying stem that was right there, but there was one healthy part on it, so I replanted it right there just to kind of see what it looks like and see if it would go. It looks really healthy right now. I think I'm going to get something going out of this. And then these two Ludwigia, I'm about to trim these guys up right there, so I'm going to snip those off. Those little runners you see right there, I'm going to replant them down here and see if I can get two brand new, just beautiful Ludwigia going. So the Stargrass, looking super healthy as well. I mean, I'm really proud of it right now. It's popping, it's got good color. Everything's got really green, vibrant color. So let's touch on the last thing, my HC, my baby tears. I don't know how to explain this, and so I got that huge mat in one of my videos. I think I posted it a while ago. I got a huge mat of baby tears and planted them, and honestly, when I got done making that video, I wanted to make like a follow-up and just do some background to the plant that I got at the store. And so the bottom line is, baby tears, at least the ones I got from my fish store, yeah, it's great. It was a big mat. I think it was like 15 or 20 bucks. They were not very good. And the reason I say that is they were not, you can tell, they were just, those places just mass produce baby tears, and they don't completely grow them submerged. So the color on them was just this light, super light green when I put them in. It didn't look like any baby tears I've ever seen. It did not look great. So after a while, everything just started looking kind of like it was just going to die. It's not going to catch. It's going to die. It's going to look terrible. It is what it is. And then, again, soon thereafter, eventually, I guess the roots caught, and now it's back to the color that I'm used to seeing it. And it really is starting to spread out. I can tell that it is rooted. I mean, this looks phenomenal. It looks way different from one of my last videos. So what I need to do right now is it is getting a little high up. I'm going to wait maybe another week or two, and I'm going to trim it up. So again, what happens when I go and trim it up, I keep it low and give it a chance to keep spreading vertically and see if I can get a good grass going on this. So, all right, let's touch on one of the last things that I know everyone, some people are probably seeing when they when they see the videos. What the hell, dude? You have a ton of snails in your tank. And I do. You can even see up here on my wave maker. It's kind of nasty. There's a bunch of these which, from what I looked up, are Malaysian snails. It's an infestation at this point. It's a pain in my ass. I'm very much not happy with them. So one of the other things that you can tell, though, is you see a bunch of dead, empty shells just all over the place. And I do need to, clean those up, which I will. But, so if anyone's doing research on assassin snails or the bumblebee snails and putting them in the tank to help with your outbreak, it does work. It works phenomenally. These guys just eat up every single day. They just tear up this Malaysian snail population. But, two things. It's not keeping up with their reproductive rate. So they're not feeding as fast as what these guys are breeding. And my other issue is they're just leaving a ton of empty shells throughout my tank. And it doesn't look good. So these guys are serving their purpose of, they probably helped as well to get rid of my algae, the Malaysian snails. So they are algae eaters, and it helped out a lot. That's probably why they're around that pump I have right there, because there's still a little bit of brown algae all throughout it. But I think they've pretty much fed off of most of the algae. It's starting to look really good. I just barely see any throughout the tank. So here's my question to myself. What do I want to do to take care of these Malaysian snails? Do I want to get a trap? Do I want to DIY a trap? I've already kind of made one. I just haven't really used it yet. What do I want to do? And so at this point, I'm looking at even purchasing a couple of clown loaches, because I don't have anything in the tank that they'd have a problem with. It'd just be them. And throw a couple clown loaches in here and see if they'll just eat the hell out of these snails and get them out of my tank. And then once I kind of get the population under control, give them back to my local fish store, get them for a credit, see if anybody wants them. But I've never owned loaches, so I'd like to see how it goes, or how they'd even do in the tank and with all my plants, or if they just tear it up. So something I'm debating with right now. But it is a big problem. I'm not happy with it. So we'll see where it goes from there. So I guess one of the last things to touch on is, hey, your tank is looking, pretty healthy. You've got really good growth from what it looks like, yada, yada, yada. Whoa, what are you going to do? So I've been debating this. I'm going to mix a new bottle of my dry ferts, and I'm really, really going to lower the dosage. I think that the phosphates were too much in my tank, and those phosphates were what was fueling that huge algae bloom that was just consistent in my tank. It was too much. So, with the holidays coming around as a holiday bonus from work, potentially, I hope, crossing my fingers, find out this week. And then also, tax returns. So a little bit of extra income coming in. So what I may be planning to do is purchase myself a nice 5-gallon CO2 tank where I don't have to keep screwing with getting these paintball tanks reloaded, because at this point, it's just a pain in the butt. So that's the plan right now, is I'm going to start up doing my fertilization all over again. And with that being said, I'm probably going to start a new video series, and I'm just going to call it Dosing in the Tank. And I'm going to try and do as many videos as I can. I know before I said, I'm going to do it daily. I know I'm going to do it every other day. So right now, I'm going to do my best to do once a week. If I can do more, I'll do more. But I'm going to see and make a new series starting after this video of just straight up doing dosing on my tank. I think it's the PPI plus dosing method, whatever it is. But I'm going to kind of see how that goes, get CO2 back in my tank, and see what the heck this looks like. I'll follow up with another video as well to adding some fish in the tank, because I'm at the point where I need to stock this bad boy. It's looking pretty good. So that's it. It's a little later at night, so I took it off of its lighting cycle, but I'll kind of go back to where it was at. Let's see if I can. No, that's not it. I think the 9 o'clock one will work good. But yep, so this is what it's looking like right now. I definitely need to do some more trimming on the wisteria to make everything just flow. It just kind of looks like it's overtaking. I'm just too tired to do that right now. So hopefully sometime this week I'll take care of that. It'll just pop a little more with the color and the other plants that I have over there. But so far so good. Thanks.